I tear open my shirt and I show a rosy on my chest, 'cause I'm a wanderer, yeah, a wanderer. I roam around, 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 around. Oh well, I roam from town to town. I go through life without a care, and I'm as happy as a clown. I with my two fists divine, but I'm going nowhere. Oh yeah, I'm the type of guy that likes to roam around. I'm never in one place. I roam from town to town, and when I find myself falling for some girl, yeah, I hop right in that car of mine. I drive around the world. Yeah, I'm a wanderer. Yeah, a wanderer. I roam around, 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 around. Let's roam, I let go. I roam from town to town, and when I find myself falling for some girl, I hop right into that car of mine, drive around the world, 'cause I'm a wanderer, yeah, a wanderer. I roam around, 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 'cause I'm a wanderer, yeah, a wanderer. I roam around, 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 'cause I'm a wanderer. just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people living just to find emotion.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed, and the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. After 9 days, I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and the perfect disguise above. Under the cities lies a heart made of ground, but the humans will give no love. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. when the rains came. Down in the hollow, playing a new game. Laughing and a running, hey, hey. Skipping and a jumping. In the misty morning fog with our hearts a thumping, and you, my brown-eyed girl. And you, my brown-eyed girl. And whatever happened to Tuesday and so slow? Gone down the old man with a transistor radio. Standing in the sunlight laughing, hiding high at a rainbow's wall. Slipping and sliding all along the waterfall with you, my brown-eyed girl. You, my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when we used to sing sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, just like that? Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la- So hard to find my way. Now that I'm all on my own. I saw you just the other day. My, how you have grown. Cast my memory back there, Lord. Sometimes I'm overcome thinking about making love in the green grass behind the stadium with you, my brown-eyed girl. You, my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when we used to sing?
She's in me, always with me, tiny dancer in my hand. Jesus freeze out in the street, handing tickets I forgot.
everybody. Hi. Hi, team. Thank you so much for coming out to the Ridgely today. We love you for being here. Please take your seats. We are gathering all of our esteemed elected officials, some of which will sit here. So why don't you go find your seats, and we'll start imminently. Please hold.
I'll take you away. Last night I owned a lead and slab, and so I wish that I could stay. Before the thing could answer me, well, someone came and took the lamp away.
Hi, everybody. Hi, team. You get me first. I'm the warm-up, so just give me a second. Hello, my name's Allison Campolo. I am your Tarrant County Democratic Party Chair. Welcome to Fort Worth. Okay. I got told to stay on the stairs. I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to stand over here by my dear friend Alyssa. Can you guys see me okay? Okay. Hi, team. Thank you for coming out to Fort Worth. First, I want to recognize our elected officials. You know some of them. Thank you for giving them such a warm welcome of applause. If you're an elected official here and you're in our audience, will you please stand up? So, we have some wonderful elected officials here, but I do want to call out Elizabeth Beck and Chris Nettles here in the front row. As many of you know, they stood up for DEI this week. We're so grateful and proud for them. I'm so grateful. They really did something special. It was not an easy evening. We were there for many hours. They did a lot of time on this. It was not easy at all. We're so grateful. I definitely want to welcome everybody to Fort Worth. I'm so grateful Beto is here. I'm so glad, Congressman Castro and, of course, our homegrown Congressman VC and Lisa Simmons are here as well. Yes, definitely clap for them. And, of course, we'll be joined virtually by our amazing state reps who are holding the line in other states. So this show today is not about me, but I do want to say a couple words before I kick myself off the stage, which is there's a reason they're doing this, right? So if you've heard me talk, you know what I'm going to say, but there's a reason they are literally hunting our Democrats right now, right? There's a reason they drew Elisa out of her district. There's a reason they're trying to redraw Texas in the middle of the decade. There's a reason they're trying to send the FBI to find our state reps in other states. Does anybody know what that reason is? They are freaked the fuck out. Yeah. And here's the thing that they know that we very frequently forget, and many of us don't know. But the point of us being here today, one of the many points of us being here today, is to learn and to spread this message. The thing that the Republicans know, the Democrats don't know, what is it? We outnumber them. We outnumber them. We outnumber them. And all we have to do, it's free. All we have to do is vote about it. Like, vote. We have to vote like it. It's so easy. It's free. And they don't make it easy intentionally. I mean, they try to draw us out of fair representation. They try to make sure that we can't get good access to the ballot box. On and on and on. Nonetheless, all we have to do is show up, and we have to vote. So I know that our amazing representatives and officials are going to be talking about this, but the one thing I want you to take away today is that this is an action item today. So I'm the chair of a Tarrant County Democratic Party. The whole point of me is to get people to vote, so this is my message. Take action today. Become a precinct chair. Sign up with your party. Sign up with an allied organization or a club. Sign up with somebody who's spreading the message. Shout out to the 817 podcast who just interviewed Beto and is going to have an interview out later today. There are so many clubs, organizations, parties, precinct chairs, VDRs, representatives, elected officials you can get involved with. You don't have to pick just one. You can pick your favorite. You don't have to do 1,000 hours a week. You can do 30 minutes a week, but make today about action. That's my message. Thank you, everybody. Have a good time in Fort Worth. And I would like to now introduce my dear friend who also stood up all by herself against everybody else on Tuesday, all by herself, to save our human services. Thank you to our commissioner, Alyssa Simmons.
Good afternoon. It is so good to see all of you all up there. Hello. I see you back there. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you to Beto for the invitation. Thank you to Beto for fighting relentlessly for all Texans. He does it even when the fight gets ugly. He does not give a damn. He is going to fight for us. He doesn't have to be elected. He is going to fight for us. And let me tell you, it is a relief to be in this room with reasonable, responsible people. Jesus. Instead of those unhinged Trump, Abbott, sheeple colleagues of mine. I mean, thank y'all for being here. And let me say thank you to the people, the advocates that come to Commissioner's Court every other week. They are there. And so I am not quite alone. There are people who come, and I'm not going to call a name because I will not remember somebody, but organizations and individuals. And so while it's lonely, I know I can call those people. And so I appreciate their advocacy, and I wanted to take this opportunity to say that. Before I go any further, let us take a moment to recognize and thank our Texas House Democrats. Let's do that. Yes, yes, thank them. Yes. They are standing up against racially gerrymandered maps. Those are racially gerrymandered maps. And they said, hell no. But they are putting it all on the line. They are putting their safety on the line, their families on the line, their family's safety on the line, their income, hell, their freedoms. We're here today because we have the freedom to move about. They really don't. They're hosed up somewhere. So thank y'all for showing them that appreciation. And you know, Beto, bless his big old heart, he's out here standing with them. And in return, y'all's Attorney General, Ken Paxton, sued him. But Beto sued his ass back. And that's the kind of energy we need. We cannot have lackluster leaders, people who they come into office, they leave office, they forget why they even ran in the first place. They forget about us. Not Beto. But he's going around this country trying to restore democracy. And so where was the lawsuit against Beto filed? Where was it filed? Tarrant freaking County. Tarrant freaking County. Right here. I mean, where else did y'all expect in Texas for the damn lawsuit against Beto to be filed? I mean, because apparently we are the testing ground, the proving ground for every racist idea that happens in Texas. I don't know how else to say that. Now, look, I know a little bit about redistricting. Just went through it was a breeze of a redistricting fight because none of y'all had any damn input. And it lasted almost 2 months and actually still going through it. And for the people that don't know, Tarrant County was redistricted. My precinct 2, which is southeast Tarrant County, Arlington, Mansfield, well, hell, it was Grand Prairie. They took Grand Prairie. It's messed up now. Tarrant County was redistricted, and the black and brown, many of the black and brown voters in precinct 2, my precinct, were taken out and packed into an already Democratic precinct 1. So I think precinct 1 now is 89% black and brown. And so precinct 2 just kind of just fell. So it would be near impossible, not impossible, because y'all are going to make sure I'm reelected, right? So they made it tough. Let me just say that. I had, precinct 2 had 48.9% black and brown citizen voting age population. That dropped to 38% after redistricting. So that's why I said it will be tough. And y'all know it was y'all, notice how I give y'all all these people. Y'all's Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare. Thank you. That made this possible. And mid-decade redistricting is not, it's legal. It's just not normal. And it was just unnecessary here in Tarrant County, just like it is for these congressional seats. It's absolutely unnecessary. So y'all know the Republican agenda is crystal clear. It's to silence the voices of black and brown working class Texans and hold power even as the state becomes more diverse, becomes younger, becomes more progressive. That's their aim, and we are going to stop it. We must. And I'll be honest, the redistricting in the county was foreseeable. I did not foresee what's happening now with the congressional map, probably because I'm overwhelmed here locally. But it was foreseeable, and it is happening in counties. It happened in Galveston County, so we knew it would probably make it here. So it just made it to Tarrant County, and it's happening also in Fort Bend County right this second. And so we have got to get a handle on this. We've got to stop going to galas and waiting for the next fabulous speech from our elected official. We have got to stop waiting for lawsuits to end up in our favor. Look at the courts in Texas, look at the courts in Tarrant County. We have got to get back to the basics. And the basics, the main, I think, the primary solution is turn out. We've got to get people to the polls. And so, how many months do we have until the midterm? 15 months. 15 months. If each of us found 15 cousins, nephews, neighbors who do not vote and coddle them right now until Election Day, I think that would be the start of making a difference. But let's be clear, and let's make it clear to all those MAGA people that we are not sitting still for this shit, right? We are not. So, I thank y'all for having me, and let's get to work. Yes. Give one of our heroes a hand. Hey, Rep Collier, can you hear me? Rep Collier, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Introducing State Representative Nicole Collier.
And cheat. They don't care about silencing communities of color. They want what they want, and they are willing to knock down whoever stands in front of them. Their privilege knows no bounds. The fact is that they are not like us. We need you to ring the alarm. We need you to let people know that we are the party who stands for freedom and justice for all. We are the party who believes everyone should be treated with respect and dignity. And we are the party who are powered by the people. So we need you to continue to fight, because we will not stop. We will not back down. We will continue to hold the line and resist. So I want to bring to the stage one of my fellow warriors in this fight, our fearless leader, my classmate, and our
This is State Rep King Wu. And with here on the bus with the Democrats from Texas. Hey, everybody. We just want to say thank you to everybody. Look, we're here. We're fighting for y'all. We're fighting for all Americans, but we couldn't do it without you. I thank y'all for your letters of support, your text message, everything. Thank you for all the donations. We can't do it without you. I know your hearts are with us, and like we're quorum breaking, but there's a piece of you with us here right now. So thank you so much. Hey, we're gonna go run down the aisle and to show everybody's here. Oh. All right, hey everybody! Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you to Beto for helping us out. Thank you to everybody, all the Americans who have donated to us. Thank you so much. We're going to keep on this fight. We're going to keep going. We're not going to stop until we win. And we're going to win for the American people. We're going to win for Texas. Thank you all so much. Let's keep going. And next up is Congressman Mark Vesey.
What's up, Fort Worth? How y'all doing? So good to see you. So good to see everybody. So good to see my friend Beto O'Rourke back in town. Great to see him. Great to see Joaquin. Joaquin's been to Fort Worth before. These two guys were my classmates when we got elected to Congress back in 2012. And we've been on some journeys. And, you know, one of the things about Congress and just being an elected official in general is that you really do meet some very interesting people along the way, including a very interesting cast of characters, right? And when Joaquin and I were in the state legislature, one of the characters that I remember very well, and at the time seemed like a decent guy, was Ken Paxton. Yeah. You know, when we knew Ken Paxton back when Joaquin and I were in the state legislature back in 2005, 2007, Ken was like, you know, he loved the Lord. Ken loved that's all Ken used to talk about. And Ken started loving the Lord so much that he had a federal warrant out for his arrest for fraud, amongst many other things. And, you know, when I got to Congress, you know, there's a whole nother cast of characters. You know, there's this one lady that I work with. Her name is, y'all may have seen her on TV before. Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. I mean, like a complete just nutcase. Total nutcase. And then we have this Speaker of the House that says he loves the Lord. They call him Mike Johnson from Shreveport. Mike loves the Lord so much that he wants to discriminate against voters of color. And he wants to eliminate congressional districts just because Donald Trump, who definitely pretends like he loves the Lord, told him to do it. But, you know, one of the great things is that, you know, you do meet that cast of characters, but you meet some amazing individuals as well. And one of the people that, again, that I'm just very privileged to serve with, who's been a champion when it comes to immigration rights, has been a champion when it comes to civil rights, has been a champion when it comes to women's rights, and that is Joaquin Castro out of San Antonio, Texas. Just an incredible individual, and just like when Beto and my kids sort of grew up together in the house, it's been amazing to watch Joaquin's young family grow up. And one of those other classmates that I talked about, who's also, it's just been amazing to watch him grow. It's been an incredible, and our kids have grown up together, and he has just become such a fighter for all different issues, and it doesn't surprise me that he is here in this unconstitutional law grab that Donald Trump is attempting, that Greg Abbott is being servile and subservient on when it comes to these congressional maps. But he's been there for every fight, whether it's the fight to protect reproductive rights, this fight on redistricting that we're having right now, the fight when it comes to fair wages in the state of Texas and this country. Someone that I was very proud to serve with on the House Armed Services Committee from El Paso, Texas. That's Beto O'Rourke. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And the reason why I like serving with these guys is because they know how to fight and they have heart. And that's what we need now. For people that don't have it in them to fight right now, when everything is at stake, when liberty is on the line, when our country as we know it is at stake, it's time for them to exit the stage. They need to move on. They need to move on. You know, some of y'all have heard me talk about my experiences here in the Ridgely Theater growing up. My family's right here in Como, right next door. My mom finished from Como High School when everything was still segregated. She's class of 1969. My mom and all her brothers and sisters finished from right over there in Como. And I have so many memories about just growing up around here. But one of the things that you learn is that if you want to be respected, you got to fight back. You got to fight back. Because when you don't fight back, you just invite other people to pick on you. And one of the things that Democrats did that was a big mistake in 2003, when Tom DeLay, do y'all remember little Tom DeLay? When Tom DeLay decided that he was going to redistrict, not a single Democratic governor or Democratic state legislature returned the favor. And so now we're back at 2025, 20 years later, and we're dealing with this bullshit again. And the reason why we're dealing with this bullshit again is because nobody fought back this last time around. But I got to tell you, man, I'm going to tip my hat to that governor from California, Gavin Newsom. I'm tipping my hat. I am tipping my hat Texas style to him. Because the message that they're sending to Speaker Mike Johnson, to Donald Trump, to Greg Abbott, is that if you're going to draw Democrats out in Texas, then you're going to take some Democrats, some Republicans out with you in California. And that's the message that needs to be sent. And to these other blue states that are out there, with these blue governors and blue state legislators, I don't want to hear about this bullshit about what y'all's Constitution. Y'all need to have a special session. And you need to get to redrawing their asses out in Washington. Get to redrawing their asses out in Illinois. Get to redrawing their asses out in New York. Get to redrawing their asses out in New Jersey. Get to redrawing their asses out in Maryland. They can come along with the ride with me because ain't nobody going to miss Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can tell you that much. Ain't nobody in the world going to miss her. But that's what we need. It's time for Democrats to stop bringing a damn stick to the knife fight. Bring a damn machete to the knife fight. Because if you don't do that, they're going to keep doing this over and over again. And it is sad. It is sad that on the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, that we're still having to deal with this. But as long as the likes of Donald Trump keep getting elected into this office, we are going to have to keep fighting. And we need to elevate people to positions of power and representation in this state and in this country that are willing to roll up their sleeves and punch back. And one of those people that I know that's not afraid to punch back, because I've seen him do it before, and he is damn good at it. Y'all ought to check him out on X. Y'all need to check him out on Instagram. You need to check him out on Facebook. And that is my dear friend that represents San Antonio, Texas, who's about to step to the mic, Joaquin Castro.
How are y'all, Fort Worth? It's great to be with you. I'm Joaquin Castro and proud to represent my hometown, a little bit south of here, San Antonio, Texas, in Bexar County. Let me tell you, a few weeks before the redistricting happened, these bad maps, they called us in Congress, the Democrats, and they asked us to verify our home addresses. And then they drew us out of our districts. And so I want you to do everything that you can to beat these maps because we need Mark Vesey back in Congress. You won't find a prouder person of being from and representing Fort Worth than my very good friend, Mark Vesey. Thank you, Mark, for so many years of service. And thank you to Beto O'Rourke for bringing us all together. And not just bringing Texans together, but if you've seen him in Kansas City and New Orleans on the East Coast, you're doing an incredible job. Thank you so much, Beto. I was very proud in 2003 to be part of the group of Democrats who left the state for Ardmore, Oklahoma to beat Tom DeLay in that redistricting. And we beat them for several months, but they finally passed their redistricting plan back then. And Mark was right. We should have learned our lesson back then because even though we had more Democratic governors at the time, in fact, when we went to Oklahoma, there was a Democratic governor in Oklahoma back then. But we've learned our lesson now, and we need California and Illinois and Washington State and Maryland to make sure that if they're going to mess with Texas, that those states are going to empty out the Republicans from their congressional delegation. And y'all, I know that, people are living their lives and they're trying to support themselves and their family members. And even though Trump promised an incredible economy, inflation has started to go up even higher. Rents are going up. The cost of everything is going up. You try to take your family out to eat to a restaurant, and a meal that would cost $40 or $50, I have a family of 5, my wife and our 3 kids, that a few years ago would be maybe $50. Now it's $80. It's gotten much more expensive, even for basic things. We have an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And so when we've been buying diapers in the last 6 months at the beginning of the year, as our daughter was coming off of them, the price of diapers has gone up. The price of basic necessities has gone up. The price of health care has gone up. And I want to tell you very quickly a very short story, a short version of what was one of the worst days and one of the luckiest days of my life. Because as we talk about redistricting, and look, let's be clear, this is going to hurt black and brown communities the most in our cities because they are tearing them up and moving them all around. But the fact is, those communities aren't the only ones that are going to get hurt. White Texans are going to get hurt. Rural Texans are going to get hurt. Suburban Texans, urban Texans. This is going to be bad for everyone. And let me give you one example of why. And as we talk about this, remember, these aren't just lines on a map or red and blue or things on a budget, right? Line items on a budget. This is about who represents each and every one of us. So, the quick story. I'm 50 years old. I turned 51 on September 16th of this year. But in 2022, on July 2nd of 2022, I started that day very happy because I mentioned that I have a 3-year-old. My 3-year-old, our youngest child, Ana Valentina, she turned 2 months old that day. And I was away in Spain, in Bilbao, Spain, for a work conference. And it was the first time I'd ever been to Spain. And we were on the last night of this conference, and we were driving back to Bilbao somewhere in the between 11 and 12 midnight. And as we were driving back, I was a passenger in a car, And as we were on this road that was dimly lit, seemed like a semi-rural road, the driver hit this wild boar going about 65 or 70 miles an hour. Now, those of you that have ever hit anything on the road at that speed, you know how scary and how dangerous it is. Because right away, the car was impacted and, it was bent and the windshield shattered and the airbags came out. But they sent the ambulance over and they asked us how we were doing. And I actually thought that I was fine. I tried to figure out if there was anything wrong with me. I didn't really feel much pain. I looked at my hand and I noticed that it was starting to swell up a little bit and getting kind of red. And I thought, well, if I got to go back home to San Antonio and tell the insurance people that I actually hurt myself, I want to make sure I document it. So I said, yeah, I'll go to the hospital. I thought, well, I have this flight at 7 or 8 a.m. the next morning. I'll be in there for a few minutes. They'll x-ray my hand and I'll be on my way. Well, I get to this hospital in what I felt like was the middle of nowhere on the outskirts of Bilbao. And right away, they treat me like a trauma patient, a full-blown trauma patient. If you've ever gone to the hospital after a car accident, they put that neck brace on you where you can't move your neck and you're stiff. And they said, we see a lot of accidents on these roads, and the damage isn't always readily apparent. Sometimes it takes hours or even days for people to realize that they've been hurt. And so they gave me something that I'd never had before because I'd never been hospitalized and quite honestly didn't really like going to the doctor and didn't like blood and needles, all of that stuff. And they gave me what's called an MRI with contrast. An MRI with contrast, for those of you that know, is when they inject a dye in you so they can see what's going on with your organs. And so it took about 40 or 45 minutes and the doctor was going to release me. And just before they were going to release me, one of the last things they do before they let you go, is they take your IV out. Well, I thought they were going to take the IV out and I was going to go home. And as I'd come in, they asked my name. They didn't ask for my insurance card. They didn't ask for my address. They didn't ask for my driver's license. They just treated me as a patient and a human being at the hospital. But the doctor came back over, and we were in these closed-off rooms, not with walls, but with curtains. And she came over, and she closed the curtain in front of us, and she started to lean over. And it was at this point in my life that I'd never wished more than at that moment that my Spanish was better than it was. She started telling me in Spanish and also in English, but she said, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but my radiologist called down to me, and he believes he sees what are 2 neuroendocrine tumors that have moved from your small intestine into your liver. And I had never heard the word neuroendocrine. I couldn't even pronounce it. But I understood that this doctor was telling me that they believed that I had cancer. And so when I got back to San Antonio, you can imagine, for those of you that have gone through it or have helped a family member go through this, you have 1 million doctor's appointments and MRIs and CAT scans and PET scans. And so I ended up getting surgery in February of 2023 at MD Anderson. And they took out a bunch of stuff, like 44 lymph nodes, part of my small intestine, my appendix, my gallbladder, a bunch of stuff. I was there for 10 days. Fortunately, the remaining tumors that I have not grown in 3 years. I just need them to not grow for about 40 more years, and then I'll be perfect. But when I was there at MD Anderson, after you have surgery, they ask you to walk around. That's part of the recovery. And as I was walking around, they told us to relax. Don't get excited. Don't get stressed out. And so I didn't watch CNN, MSNBC, any politics for 10 days. And that was in a quieter time than it is now. But I didn't watch anything. But I pass around and people are doing their laps and they're walking and you're hooked up to that machine that reads your blood pressure and your heart rate and all that. And I passed by 2 rooms right in a row that had Fox News on. And I said, wait, I thought they told us to relax. They're watching Fox News. But let me tell you, as we were passing each other, all of us of different ages, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, nobody's politics mattered at that moment. Everybody was working to survive their cancer diagnosis and their surgery. And that's why I know that when you cut cancer research and you cut health care and you cut Medicare or Medicaid, you're not just hurting Democrats, you're hurting all Americans, regardless of their politics. And there was one line because I had to go get a treatment of a drug called lanreotide. This drug, and it's worked for 3 years, is supposed to freeze the growth of the tumors. The list price on that drug, when I first saw it, when they were billing my insurance company, which at the time was Blue Cross Blue Shield, because I had to become an expert on insurance, on premiums and deductibles and copays, and then there's another category of drugs called specialty drugs that you have to make sure are covered in your plan. Otherwise, you'll be paying thousands of dollars, or you won't be able to pay, basically. This one drug, lanreotide, that I have to take every month, the list price on that drug was $24,000 per injection. So when I say that redistricting and this fight will affect every single Texan, what I mean is that I don't want 5 more people who are going to vote for taking away people's health care. I don't want 5 more people who are going to take away ACA subsidies. I don't want 5 more people who are going to strip people of Medicaid coverage or Medicare coverage or Social Security. Because this is a matter of life and death for so many people in Texas and across the country. And it's not just cancer. Cancer is one type of illness. There's sickle cell and Alzheimer's and dementia and diabetes, as my grandmother passed away from years ago. And so I hope that you all will share the stories in your lives and why this is so important. Because it's not just lines in a map, it's people's lives. We need more Mark Veseys in Congress, not more people who are going to be cowards, afraid to stand up to Donald Trump. Texas Democrats are standing up to Donald Trump. Republicans are running scared from Donald Trump. And let me tell you, in Texas, there has not been anybody who has stood up stronger, who has fought back harder than my great friend, Beto O'Rourke. Beto is doing it all, and he's going to win that lawsuit against Ken Paxton.
Thank you, brother. It was really good. Thank you. All right, Fort Worth. Let's hear it for Joaquin. Let's hear it for Mark, Elisa, Allison, these city council representatives. And how about those Texas state Democrats in Illinois fighting for all of us? I got to tell you, I don't know how you feel, but I needed all of this. I needed all of them. I need all of you. We need each other right now. This is a season that tempts us to despair. Just look at just look at this unfortunate soul who's having a hard time in her life right now. Now there's someone who's given in to some evil stuff, right? And look, we pray for her. We hope that she comes out okay at the end of the day. But coming back to us, we need each other at this moment because we have been tempted to despair. If you think about what has happened in the first 6 or 7 months since Donald Trump has been sworn into office, he has defied the co-equal federal courts, absolutely disregarding their decisions. He's dismantled congressionally chartered and mandated agencies and departments. He has colluded with corrupt public officials, and he has covered up through the bribe that he is paying right now to Ghislaine Maxwell to move her to Camp Fed to reduce her sentence, though she is a convicted sex trafficker of little girls, of children in this country. And he seeks to dispense with every constitutional safeguard and protection that has kept us a nation of laws and not of kings for these last 249 years. But that's not the worst. This is the worst. So many of our fellow Americans right now bend the knee to this would-be tyrant. They assume that he already has the power to be a king, and it's the most powerful among us. The big East Coast law firms will no longer defend his political opponents, will contribute hundreds of millions of dollars to his chosen causes. The big universities, whether it's Columbia or Brown or maybe Harvard as well, with endowments that cumulatively measure in the tens of billions of dollars, bending the knee. The big media companies like Paramount, which owns CBS, not only are they paying a fine, they're canceling Stephen Colbert because he speaks the truth to Donald Trump. They're bending the knee. Mark Zuckerberg bent the knee. Jeff Bezos bent the knee. They're all bending the knee. And so this guy thinks, Donald Trump, that he's absolutely unstoppable. He really believes that he's the king that these knee benders tell him that he is. And so he comes to our state to grab even more power in the form of these 5 congressional districts, including Mark VC's right here. He thinks that we are going to take it right here, but he doesn't understand in Texas, our knees do not bend. That doesn't work here. We're going to fight these motherfuckers for as long as it takes with everything we've got. We're never giving in, we're never giving up, and we're never bending the knee. Are you with me? This guy and these Republicans are running scared. They're in full panic mode. That is why Greg Abbott is trying to remove these House Democrats from office. That's why he's threatening to charge them with second-degree felonies. That's why he's threatening to hunt them down with state troopers, now with Kash Patel, who was busy covering up for Donald Trump's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, now sending the FBI to go try to find these folks in Illinois or wherever they may be right now. They are panicking because he gets that if he cannot steal these 5 seats, his policies are so deeply unpopular in America, whether it's cutting millions off of Medicaid, whether it's these Gestapo tactics that are terrorizing our fellow Americans all across this country, or the massive transfer of wealth in the hundreds of billions of dollars that you generated that is now being sent to the wealthiest 1% in this country. There is no way that he can win the 2026 elections on that record without cheating. So he comes to us. But listen, I don't think he understands what he's up against here in Texas. Not only is it the folks who are here right now, not only is it those 54 brave Democrats who broke quorum to deny them the numbers to redraw these maps, but it is everyday Texans in every single part of the state. And perhaps the last place that they'd expect to see us coming is Tarrant County, Texas, right here in Fort Worth. Well, Donald Trump, here we are. You have met your match. And we're going to fight him each and every day with everything that we've got. Because listen, if we allow them to steal the election of 2026 right now in the summer of 2025, that consolidation of authoritarian power that we've been warning each other about, I think it is almost unstoppable after then. That means more masked, plainclothes federal agents without warrants or badges sweeping our fellow Americans up off the streets. That means more of Trump's and Abbott's and Paxton's political opponents targeted for vengeance and persecution, and yes, even for political violence. And it means that if we do not return Mark Vesey to that Congress, if we do not win a majority, then a Republican majority, those quisling, corrupt cowards, they will roll out the red carpet for a 3rd Trump term, and we cannot allow that to pass. Are you with me on this? That is what we've got to stop. And so we tell ourselves that we must fight. But let us no longer say that we're going to fight back, or that we're going to react, or that we're going to respond, or even that we are going to form the resistance. Instead of fighting back, let's take the fight to them. Let's get off of the back foot onto the front foot, off of defense onto offense. Let's take this to every fucking county in the state of Texas, every state in the union, everywhere we have to go. Meet them on every front. Fight until we win. And what that looks like. You know, as Elisa Simmons said, I was sued by Ken Paxton not once, but twice this week. But we didn't react, we didn't respond, we didn't defend. We took this fight right back to him and we sued him in court in El Paso, Texas. He tried to stop us from holding this rally here today in Fort Worth. He tried to stop us from raising money to support these Democrats in the fight. He lost. And one of the worst things that we could do to Ken Paxton is to right now choose to donate to have the backs of these fighters by texting FIGHT to 20377. Text FIGHT to 20377. He is trying to stop us from raising the resources they need to ultimately prevail and come through, and we are not going to let him stop us. Are you with me on that? Ándale. It also means, as Mark was saying earlier, we don't await the punch thrown by these would-be fascists to land. We punch first and we punch harder. We want California and New Jersey and Illinois and Maryland and every other state where the Democrats hold the governor's mansion, the assembly, and the state senate to redraw their congressional districts now, not wait for Texas to move first, to maximize Democratic Party advantage. Listen, you may say to yourself, well, those aren't the rules. There are no refs in this game. Fuck the rules. We are going to win whatever it takes. We're going to take this to them in every way that we can. It means joining the Tarrant County Democratic Party and going out there and meeting those voters now in 2025 who are going to decide that election in 2026. It means signing up with Powered by People, where we will train you to become a volunteer deputy registrar, and we'll send you out where we know that there are eligible voters who are not yet on the rolls, likely to be Democrats, and we bring them on and then stay in touch with them throughout the voting process to navigate these obscenely complex voting laws in the state of Texas to make sure they cast a ballot. Check this out. Last year, the voting rate for 18 to 29-year-olds across the country was 42%. Texas typically performs lower. Those 18 to 29-year-olds that we registered and Powered by People and stayed in touch with turned out at a rate of 79% in the election last year. So let's get more of them onto the rolls, turn more of them out to vote, and win more elections up and down the ballot. But in addition to fighting these fuckers, we have to do something else. I'm paraphrasing what Elisa Simmons would say, right? Bad influence on me. Great influence on me. We also have to be able to tell ourselves and our family and our friends and our fellow citizens just what we are fighting for, right? I think in previous elections, maybe in 2024, maybe in 2016, it was all about how bad the other side was. And they were really bad, and that was a legitimate argument. But what enough of our fellow Americans didn't hear is how this country would be better, how it would be different, how we would change it to improve their lives and to replace a system that has not worked for millions of us so that we have a system that works for all of us. So I'll give you an example. In 2024, there were a hell of a lot of Democrats, including at the very top of the ticket, talking about saving democracy. And there were a lot of people in Texas who were like, what the fuck are you trying to save? It is harder to cast a ballot in this state. It is harder to register in this state than any other in the union. I don't think that's a democracy. In this state and in others, you can spend an unlimited amount of money. Elon Musk spent $300 million trying to purchase the outcome for his preferred candidate for the presidency. That does not sound like a democracy. In this country, thanks to Citizens United, corporations are equated to people. Money is speech. Corporations can spend unlimited amounts of money trying to purchase the outcomes, not just of elections, but of legislation and the future of this country. And you don't think it's a democracy when members of Congress can choose their own voters instead of the other way around. So instead of trying to save something that wasn't working for us, how about we build something that's worth saving in the first place? Overthrow Citizens United, pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Adjustment Act so we can vote in the state of Texas, get big money out of politics, remove politicians from redistricting, and return the power, all of the power, back to the people. But this political democracy that I'm talking about will not be possible if we don't also have an economic democracy. Because if folks cannot get what they need from a government of the many, soon enough, they're going to be open to getting what they need from a government of the few, or a government even of only one. And what they're asking for is not a lot. Like, what if we guaranteed that if you work one job, that is enough to take care of yourself and your family, to be able to afford to buy a home here in Fort Worth or wherever you live in America? What if we guaranteed through universal health care, Medicare for all, that if you need to see a doctor, you can see a doctor when you're sick, before you're sick. And so that you don't get sick, we want to guarantee that you have access to fresh and healthy food, clean drinking water, the time and space to exercise and move your body and spend those hours with your family. That's what makes life worth living in the first place, right? We don't lack for resources. We're the wealthiest, most powerful country on the face of the planet. We only have lacked for the political will to get this done. So here's another idea. What if, and this is going to sound crazy to you, but we treated everyone with the dignity and respect that they deserve as human beings. That when we say we are for human rights, we're for everyone's human rights. When that transgender American is being targeted, we stand by that transgender American. They're not disposable, they're not expedient, they're not inconvenient, they're a fucking human being, and treat them like one, right? And women, how about this one? Every woman makes her own decisions about her own body, her own future, her own health care. And you know what? I know that in Texas we can make that happen, because in Texas we made that happen. In '73, abortion was just as illegal in this state as it is today. But we didn't wait for someone to ride to our rescue. 3 very young Texas women, attorney Linda Coffey, Sarah Weddington, 26 years old, Jane Roe, prevail upon an all-male United States Supreme Court to render the Roe versus Wade decision, which stood the test of time for 49 years. If we did it once, we can do it again. Message to Donald Trump: do not fuck with the women of Texas, because we are coming for you. And imagine taking these human rights on the road around the world, no longer being complicit in the bombing and the starving and the slaughtering of tens of thousands of innocent children in Gaza, and instead using the awesome power of this country to work with other nations around the world to finally establish a sovereign, independent state for the Palestinian people, to work for their safety, the Israelis' safety, the safety of everyone in that region. No longer spending your tax dollars on bombs that are killing innocent people and flattening hospitals and schools, but sowing peace and reaping prosperity, not just for that region, but for all of us. And then how about this? What if we brought that same thinking back home? And we no longer had to worry about these mass plainclothes agents driving up in front of our house or to our school or to our church or to a hospital, which is what they're doing today, and rounding up our hardworking fellow Americans. They might be here undocumented. They might be here documented. They may be U.S. citizens born on this soil. We don't know, because there's no due process. There are no constitutional protections. This is being done in our name right now, and it must end. And in order to stop it, we imagine a future where we rededicate ourselves to the Constitution, to ideas like due process. And then this one. And I know that Joaquin and Mark agree with me, because they've been absolute champions for this. Check this out. You know, Democrats, present company excluded, have talked an awful good game on immigration for as long as I have been listening. You know, if you just keep voting for us, once we get in power, comprehensive immigration reform. Well, we won power in 2008, the White House, the House, and the Senate. We won power in 2020, the White House, the House, and the Senate. The American people were watching because we had promised them what we would do with that power, and we absolutely failed to live up to the expectation that we set. So next time we win power, we're going to drive that car like we stole it. We're going to legalize every dreamer's parents, every hardworking American doing backbreaking work that makes this country so goddamn great in the first place, even greater as U.S. citizens. Don't let them fool you. They're going to try to tell you that we're on different pages about this, that we don't support the law. That's crazy. We all agree we should know who's coming into this country. We all agree that we should be able to protect our families from violent criminals, whether they were born in Fort Worth or Ciudad Juarez or anywhere. I'm on the same page with that. But don't let them tell you that immigrants are taking anything from us. Immigrants are giving far more to this country than they could ever draw down in the entirety of their lives. Now, I'll close with this. Imagine a Democratic Party that actually fights for these things, that doesn't submit, that doesn't bend the knee, that doesn't roll over, that doesn't give up before the fight has even begun. I want the National Democratic Party to look at the Democrats here in Tarrant County, the Democrats here on this stage. This is what a fight looks like. Are you all ready to fight? Will you stay in this fight for as long as it takes? When you go home and you talk to your family members or your friends at work on Monday or at school and they doubt that this is possible because you're still fired up from today and you say, hey, we can do this, we're going to fight, we're going to overcome these bastards. I don't care that we're up against the most powerful man in the world who is funded by the wealthiest people on the planet. I don't care that he has the Supreme Court, the Senate, the House, the governor's mansions, the legislatures across this country. I don't care. Because check this out. You tell them this. I want to remind you who we are, what we're made of, and where we come from. For the 249 years of America, we have come up against some mighty odds, and we've overcome them at each and every turn. We defeated the British Empire, the most powerful force on the planet at the time, to secure our independence and freedom so that we would never be ruled by kings, and we're not about to start now, right? We defeated the armies of the Confederacy. 300,000 young Union men sacrificed their lives. They're 17, 18, 19 years old to establish that never again could one American own another. And it wasn't even 80 years later that men from this very community landed on those beaches in Normandy in June of 1944, again willing to give their lives to defeat fascism halfway across the world, to protect this democracy here at home. And then the generation that followed them, right here in Fort Worth and cities throughout the country, peacefully and nonviolently, went up against the elected and armed thugs of Jim Crow, and they won full civil rights and political rights for every single one of us, regardless of the color of our skin, of our gender, of our country of national origin, of any difference between us. We are the lucky heirs of all of that service, all of that struggle, all of that sacrifice that has come before. And what we do with this great inheritance, that is going to define us in the eyes of history, and it is going to determine what is possible for this country going forward. We cannot be found wanting at this moment of truth, and we must not allow the moment to pass without a fight. So I ask you to do all you can with what you have, wherever you are, today and every single day going forward. I promise you, if we will do that, we will overcome this challenge as well. We will win this country back, and we will make it one we're saving going forward. Thank you, Tarrant County, Fort Worth, these great speakers for coming out tonight. We love you guys. Let's fight. You want us all to come down? Yeah. Come on down, guys. We'll come down here.
Okay, folks, we're going to do a group picture with all of you. So if you just stay standing where you are, we would love to get a group picture. We have some signs over here. They're getting it set up right away. Okay, Chris, you want to go ahead? All right, here we go. Everybody look over here. On the count of 3, forward. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. And we will be starting a picture line, folks. So if you want to wait and take a picture or say hi, please do so. The line is going to start right here.
I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while.